Do, 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 do. Hello, hello. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining. Hey, Miles. All right. So, tonight, we're doing a special live. Uh, Xanthe Huynh is going to be joining us. And there she is. Hi, Xanthe.
Hi.
Hello. So let me do our introduction for everyone here. First of all, my name is Tweak. I'm the director of the Neat Detangles, and joining me today is Xanthe Huynh, who brought voice and life to so many wonderful characters and so many of our favorite franchises like Sachi and Sword Art Online, Menma and Anohana, which is one of my favorites. Haru in both games and the anime for Persona 5, and so many others. So welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll mention this several times throughout the live, but please give her a follow. She's a wonderful person to keep up with. She does lots of cool stuff on her accounts. I like your Twitter account where you repost a lot of really cool art related to characters that you played. And then also here, sometimes you do cosplay. You do all sorts of really cool things. So that's really a lot of fun. So please follow Xanthe. But let's go ahead and jump in. We got a lot of questions from your followers and ours, and I'll get to them in a minute. But first of all, I just want to ask, how are you doing?
Doing doing good, doing good. I actually got my second shot of Moderna last weekend.
Oh, okay.
And so I was one of the unlucky ones that had some side effects, but after a couple days, it all cleared up and I feel great now. So I'm super
It's like,
happy about that.
yeah, it's we have to walk that line, right? Because I got my second one a couple weeks ago, and
Mhm.
I got knocked out by it. Like I thought I was gonna do great. I thought I was doing fine, and I woke up the next day, I couldn't get out of bed. But we have to tell everyone, but please get it. You feel bad for
Absolutely.
one day.
I think don't be afraid of getting potentially getting side effects. Some people,
Mhm.
a lot of people don't actually. But, I think if you go in prepared and stocking up on um, like electrolyte water, lots of soup, just in case, I think that'll
Mhm.
help. And
Mhm.
also like kind of plan your schedule, make sure it's like a time where you don't have a lot of things. I got mine over the weekend, so I was able to have like the weekend to recover for work that came up later on. But yeah, I think it's so important to
Yeah.
to get our shots.
Absolutely. Protect yourself, protect the people around you, and just like you said, you kind of leave your schedule open, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
At work, you'll be a little sick, but it doesn't last too long. Well, all right. Well, you're all vaccinated. That's great. That's awesome. You know, so you got that going on, just regular life, but you also have a couple new roles that came up that I noticed that you posted. What are you
Yeah.
voicing these days?
So, just recently, the English dub for Cells at Work, the second
Right.
season, just dropped, and that's up on Funimation. And also on Funimation is Sleepy Princess in the Demon Castle. I play a character called Florence in that, and it's so funny because when I was brought in, uh, um, Howard was telling me that they were looking at the characters and they were like, "Oh, it seems like these characters are actually parody characters from of these two characters from Dragon Quest." And so they looked up who's been voicing them before, and they saw that I had voiced a character called Nera, that is like a version of Flora, and so they brought me in to play this character. It got to be a parody of a character that I had voiced before, which is super cool. We had a big laugh about it, and the show itself is really funny and super cute. And so I was really excited to be a part of it too. But just to have that extra layer on top of it just made it that much better.
Yeah, do you then voice the Sleepy Princess character in the same way as the Dragon Quest character?
Um, even though they're based on that other character, I
Tweak
I pretty
a
much
little bit.
followed it how they the Japanese was done, and it's a little bit
Um,
over the top because there are these um, shopping channel hosts, so they're a
right.
bit larger than life.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. So, yeah, that's great. Cells at Work is another terrific series. So glad to see that
Love
you're in
it.
that also. I saw some news today. Speaking of COVID vaccination, the manga for Cells at Work had a COVID chapter, one of the very last chapters of the
Oh,
thing. And
wow.
Japan is like the I guess the company has allowed the Japanese government to just give away that chapter, and they're posting it everywhere, and it's kind of promoting safety
That's
and getting the vaccine and
amazing.
everything. Yeah, so ended
That's
up being
so
a really good
cool.
thing. All right. Well, I want to get to all these questions we have because I don't want to take up your whole Friday evening, but I want to start with one of my questions since I'm hosting, so I get to do that. um, and it's kind of a longer one, or maybe not. But what's interesting to me, or what I'm interested in, is kind of knowing about your path in becoming a voice actress. It feels like we're in a day and age with all the social media that maybe it's a little bit clearer for people that voice actor is like a legitimate job that you can train for and become. But maybe it was a little bit less so when you were younger, maybe when I was younger, where we didn't really know that was maybe necessarily an opportunity. And maybe, I don't know, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but maybe coming from an Asian household, there was also kind of a different kind of feeling there from the parents and just people around you. So I want to know what you were thinking of. A lot of your followers and our followers are still teenagers. So what were you thinking of when you were younger about your career, and then how did that become voice acting, and also how has your career evolved, because you've been voice acting for quite some time now. You're an old vet at it.
Yeah, so uh feel like there's like multi-parters to this
Yeah, I'm
question.
sorry, I gave you like
Uh,
four questions.
like
Just
where
start
do
there.
I begin? Once
Yeah.
upon a time,
Right.
long, long ago. It does feel like forever ago. I I started with theater classes in high school, middle school actually. That was like my very first taste of it, and I continued on in high school. And at the time, I just thought it was something fun and also a way for me to be creative and kind of, I don't know, it was a way to get out of my shell. Basically,
Mhm.
because I ex am extremely introverted, very shy, extremely awkward. That still hasn't gone away, unfortunately. But I loved being able to jump into these different stories and different people and characters and like really dive deep into what they were about, how they react with the world, and um, be able to like internalize all that and really connect with characters and be able to connect with other people through these stories and through these characters. And I'd say that because I love the theater scene so much that I continued into college with it. Not really sure where I would go if like I know that the actor's path is very difficult, and so I figured if I went to college and studied it further, maybe I would work in like some sort of tech related field,
Mhm.
either sound design, lighting design, sets. I figured I would go into production, honestly, and it wasn't until I was watching like an anime, and I figured like, wow, that I feel like it'd be cool if I could do something like that, and that was the first time that kind of thought occurred to me. I never really thought of voice acting as a career before, even though I was loosely aware that that was a thing. But, maybe, like how do people get into that? It just seemed impossible to break into. And I went to rehearsal that same day, and I was talking to some other castmates about like this voice acting revelation that I had. And one of them had mentioned that there was a voice acting competition at Anime Expo, and that I should look into it. And So I did, and I saw that they still had signups for it, and so I signed up, not really knowing anything about voiceover. But at the time, the way they had structured their auditions was kind of like how you would audition for theater or on camera, where you like memorized something and you came in and you performed it. And so I grabbed a monologue from an anime and I brought it in, and uh, it, I s- when I got up, I was so nervous
Yeah.
that I said about 3 words and I completely forgot all my lines. And I started freaking out just a tiny bit and I just started like mumbling and then it
Oh
came
no.
back and I just continued from there. And only one of the judges commented on it. She was like, "Oh, it was a little hard to understand you in the beginning, but you came back strong." I was like, "Great."
You have no idea.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh no, could they tell?" But I didn't think that I would make it as a finalist. Honestly, it was a really great surprise, and from there I you know I competed as a finalist,
Mm,
and even though I didn't win, they still liked me enough that they brought me in to for a studio tour and to do a general audition for them, or a test for them. And this was Bang Zoom Entertainment,
mm,
and I've been lucky that they've since then have continued to bring me back for work. Um, but but yeah, it was hard because I know that my parents really didn't want me to, you know, go down the path of an actor because
mhm,
it is hard, and they want me to be, financially stable, have a good career and good life and all that. And I understand that, and it was really hard, and it was a hard couple of years to convince them that that this could be um, achievable, and at least that I was like continuing to work, but I wasn't working that much, especially in the beginning. Maybe I would get like 1 to 3 roles a year
yeah.
for the first number of years. Maybe, and also at the time I wasn't jumping full into trying to figure out how to, get more auditions and more opportunities for myself. And and it was mainly because I was also working at my parents' restaurant. They had their own business at the time. And so I was helping out there. Um, and so the majority of my time was invested there until um, many years later when they decided to close up shop. That's when I jumped full into voiceover.
Mm,
And it and I'm glad that I had a lot of support from friends and peers, and got a lot of really great advice from a lot of my mentors and a lot of my friends. And a lot of my work has mainly grown because of recommendations. And I, I think it's amazing that the voiceover community is really big on, spreading the love,
mm,
recommending other people when you feel like, oh, maybe, I'm not really great for this character, but my friend is amazing at these type of voices,
mhm,
so you should definitely audition them. Um, and so, that's how I've been able to slowly grow my opportunities. Um, and it did take a long time for my parents to really wrap their head around this being a real thing, because it's like, well, you're auditioning a lot, but you're not making a lot of money because you're not booking a lot yet. Um, and I feel like they didn't feel like it was real acting until Maquia came out. That was in
oh,
theaters, right? I was able to bring them to the movie theaters to watch it with me
mhm,
because, they don't really understand the anime stuff.
yeah.
They feel like it's, cartoons, or they're like kid stuff,
Mhm,
even though a lot of it is not for children.
right. Right.
Uh, you know, but yeah, I feel like that was a turning point, like, at least for them, and understanding like, oh, this is, you know, this is your career, this is real work that you're doing.
Oh, that's
Um,
great. And
so a
Maki,
long-winded question, I mean, answer.
well, it's a long-winded question. So, oh, thank you. Yeah, no, that's a long road. I mean, Maquia came out just a few years ago, so that was a long time for you. But I'm I'm glad they're finally convinced. I'm not surprised, you know. I mean, as you tell me how they're responding, it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I totally
Yeah,
get that.
many years they were still trying to push me into pharmacy or anything else,
Hmm.
maybe get like an office job and this
Yeah,
and that.
yeah, yeah. How about yourself? Were you convinced? I mean, did you have to get rid of that kind of feeling, that kind of Asian mentality sometimes of I should just go into law or pharmacy or be an engineer, and this is not really gonna there's not enough, it's not a level-headed enough kind of choice to make to go into this.
Definitely. I did look into getting another another side job or something
Mhm.
like that. And I tried to study up pharmacy, but I just don't, it's not where my heart is,
Yeah.
and it's also not my strength. I am horrible with numbers and calculations and like the sciences. Um, it just boggles the mind. I just can't do it. And so, even though I feel like I really, really attempted to study these things, and I just didn't do well, and like I felt like, um, I might as well give what I love a shot.
Mhm.
And if it didn't work out, then, of course I'd have to find a survival job of some sort. But luckily for me, it's working out for the best.
It absolutely is. It's like you were meant to go down this path. I mean, I totally get you. I was pre-pharmacy for a while too, and I was just I took organic chemistry, and I was like, you know what? I'm this is beyond high school, you know, science. This is not me,
Test
you
is
know. I
intense.
eventually had to find
Yeah.
my own path too, so I totally get it. But yeah, so you know, I do want to talk about some of these characters. We've mentioned Maquia, and we got some questions about some of your some of the favorite characters that you voiced. So let me start going to other people's questions. And actually, I see Shiro Meguri down there because and his question is first, so it worked out pretty nicely. Um,
Hey.
he asks, "What's it like working with Max Middleman when you were doing lines for the Persona 5 franchises? And do you have a favorite line for Haru?"
Ooh. So, for most of the Persona stuff that we worked on, it's we recorded all individually. So I didn't really get to meet Max until we had like even our whenever we do panels or when we do Persona events. Um, so I didn't really get to uh, hear or run off of get to respond off of anybody else's lines, unfortunately, especially for the video games. Um, but yeah, I think there was a second part of that question. I've forgotten it.
Well, let me ask you someone else's question also, which is from Rhino Tut 1227, who asks, "What's your favorite part about playing Haru?"
Ooh, I do. I say that my favorite thing about her is that she is so prim and proper and dainty, and I really love that about her. But she also has this little like mischievous side, and so she'll say things that make you do a double take. You're like,
Mm,
wait, what? She has this other side to her that I feel like comes out when she's like just around with her friends, and
mm,
I have a feeling she does that in a way just to like tease them,
yeah.
because I like to do that with my own friends. So I feel like that's an extension of me. Like I really connect with that part of her. So yeah,
That,
I have to say one of my. I think I remember the other question now. It was like a favorite line, and
mhm.
it's a line that a lot of fans have me recite for them, and that's the like, uh, my goodness, now I'm trying to remember. I don't know it word for word, but it's along the lines of um oh my goodness. It's like the ones about like chopping down shadows, but when they're
Someone
begging
out
for
there
the
look it
light.
up. Someone out there look it up and copy and paste it so Xanthe can read it. That's okay. But you know, you mentioned that you kind of see a little bit of yourself in Haru. We actually had some questions about that, and I'm wondering too because we talked a little bit about you being introverted, and I wonder about a different character you play, which is Marianne from Fire Emblem Three Houses, and IG Louis asks. Actually, these are kind of the same questions. So IG Louis and your boy Andre asks, do you feel kind of personally connected to that character in any ways?
Absolutely, especially in her moments where she is in the middle of kind of talking to someone and she's like, "Well, I gotta go," and she like leaves. And so I've definitely have pieced out of conversations when
Is that,
I'm like,
are you saying that's what you want to do
"I
right now? Gotta go. Sorry. Bye,
no,
everyone.
this is so much fun. No, no." But sometimes when you're with people and you don't know what to contribute to a conversation, so it's like, well, this is fun. I gotta go. Bye. And you just like haul it out of there. So
I'm
I definitely relate with that a lot. And I thought that was so funny when she would do that. And she did that in so many scenes. And Patrick, the way he would say it was, he when he would explain like what's going on in the scene and like what's so I had context for responses, and he would say like, "You're gonna say this line and then Marianne out." And I'm like, I just thought it was so funny because then I tried not to laugh while like going into saying these lines, and he did that constantly because it's so funny.
Oh, that's fun. So fun. I do have a question about her that's kind of, I guess, more from a fan angle. This is from Nippon Knickknacks, who asks thoughts on Dimitri and Marianne toxic for each other.
Toxic for each other. Mm, hmm. I don't know. I hadn't really thought of them that way. I liked that they were understanding of each other's positions and supportive of each other. Um, so
Yeah,
it's the first I've heard that.
very cool. Okay, I'm going to move on to some other questions, and if you're asking questions below, I'll try to keep track of some of these too. So, um, you know what? Why don't we go with one right here? So, do 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 do. Oh, I might put you on the spot here. Can you dance like Haru? Anna Sparkles 333. I think what she's asking is, will you dance like Haru?
I cannot because she is a trained ballet dancer, and I've only
Right?
have like 6 months of ballet a long
Oh, you have dance
time
training.
ago. So,
Oh,
but I cannot anymore, like
all right, guys. If you give us a bunch of likes, if we reach like 1,000 likes or something, Xanthe agrees to do a dance
oh
video that
no,
will,
no.
right? Just remember that. Remember that. That's she agreed to that. Okay. Let's see.
Mm.
I'm gonna move on to some kind of just kind of random questions that we got that are some of these are fun. Um, la, 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 la. Okay, so I thought this was interesting, and I don't really know this character that's being referenced, so I'm not sure if this is super accurate, but so I think you're known for doing kind of I don't know how to explain the voice quality you have, but there's a childish kind of quality to it, right? And this question from Seedler is, since you'll be voicing Canon, a mature sounding character in The World Ends With You, he or she wants to ask, how do you get into a mature persona? And have you been more interested lately in voicing mature sounding characters?
Huh. I think it's always good to be able to do a variety of characters, and so it's definitely a new challenge for me because it's definitely not something that I get to do often. Especially when I got the casting email for Canon, I was like, really, really me?
Did the wrong person?
Um, yeah, so I went in and they were like, yeah, we really liked your audition. We just want her to be more relaxed than what I did in the audition, I guess. But um, yeah, I just kind of settled into her, and it's funny because I was from my audition, I was actually doing an impression of my friend who does often does this other silly voice impression, um, and so I I was just kind of mimicking him a little bit.
Hmm.
And it's funny that I got cast and I told him that, and he was like, "So you were ripping off me in a way."
Yeah, you owe him that role, right?
Um, but yeah, I it's she's fun and I like her. She's very classy and um, you know, femme fatale type. So yeah,
That's
I
fun.
hope everybody looks forward to her.
By the way, just going through the comments, we have a lot of people that want to see you sing and dance. So just to keep that in mind.
Oh
Um,
no.
here's a fun question. Bolivaris 6 asks, does Xanthe like tea and coffee?
Yes, I love both. I especially like well, I tend to drink more tea mainly because coffee or caffeine tends to affect me really hard. So if I drink too much coffee, then I will not be able to sleep, depending on the time of day that I drink
Mhm.
coffee. So if I do, I take black coffee in the morning. Otherwise, most of the time, it's a variety of teas. I drink a lot of peppermint tea actually, because it doesn't have caffeine and that it doesn't dry me out, especially if I have like recordings to do. Otherwise, green tea or black tea or boba tea.
You
So,
know, mentioning that, what you don't want to mess up your voice before you go recording. We did have a question from Mario Artist 18 who asked if you do vocal exercises before recording, and if so, how?
yes, absolutely, absolutely. Um, Especially if I know it's going to be strenuous. But most of the time, I do need to warm up my voice because otherwise, especially in the morning, because otherwise it's just getting scraggly and
Yeah.
old. Um, so, so I do warm-ups. I have a warm-up CD by Yurilo and Don Terraplat. It came with their I bought it in junction with their book, the voiceover voice actor. Um, and I think they still sell that, maybe just in MP3 format now off their website, so you can check there. I love that CD. I have that in my car, and I would do that on the way to the studio, and now I um, do them warming up before long sessions. I also lately I attended a voiceover conference. They've rebranded and it's called Samara now, and they talked a lot about vocal health because it's also run by Dr. Gupta, and she is a specialist here in Los Angeles that does a lot of like I think it's up neck, shoulder, head kind of that's her specialty, and she does a lot of scoping for voice actors to make sure that there's like no vocal damage and things like that. And in that conference, Mindy Pack did something that she totes the voice straw, which is a device that it's basically just like a metal straw, and it also has like this like little like rubber cup. You can also use like a Dixie cup, and she has vocal exercises that are good for relaxing and opening up your vocal cords so that they are in a neutral position so that you don't damage your cords. And so I was mind blown, and that was just like uh, was that March? March. It was like just a few months ago, very recently. I haven't some time anymore. But so I just got these instruments recently, and and they I was convinced because they had a voice actor on where she did a bunch of video game efforts, like the yelling and like
Mhm.
fighting and like t taking hits and stuff, and all that's really hard in your vocal cords. So she would do them once first, and then she would um, the Mindy Pack had her do it with the straw, and then have her do it again afterwards. And they had filmed her vocal cords. You can see what the placements were like, and it's really weird looking at vocal cords. But and they also showed us um the waveform, and it's so amazing to see like when you are able to relax your vocal cords and set them properly, see um how consistent the waveform is,
Hmm.
and then you're not hurting yourself either. So this is not an ad for them, by the way, but I was just very convinced, and I've been finding that their exercises have been helping me, especially for video game stuff. Sometimes afterwards, after screaming for like an hour or two, you're like, oh my God.
Mhm.
If anybody's ever been to a concert and screamed for an hour, you know what that's like.
That's really great that you're continuing to grow in your profession though, right? And learning ways to voice better and take
Oh,
care of yourself
no,
better.
no.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna ask some more random questions here. Um, so I've never seen these posts, but Connor Wynn says, "I love your cooking posts. Which meal or snack is your favorite to cook?
What is my favorite what?
Your favorite meal or snack to cook?"
Ooh. Um, hmm. I guess one of my favorite things to cook a lot is let's see. So for me, recently for me, I've been actually cooking a lot of pizza at home, which before I was like, why do that? It's so easy just to go buy a pizza. They don't cost that much. You just have one delivered or go pick one up somewhere. But I think it was during the time when everybody was like crazy into like having their own little starter doughs and baking bread
Mhm,
and stuff
mhm.
that I it was so hard to find yeast at the time that I was looking up, things, how to do things without yeast. And one of them was how to do a pizza dough. And it was, just flour, baking powder, and baking soda, and yogurt, actually. And it's a really easy pizza base. You mix that all up, you flatten it out, you pre-bake it for like 5 minutes, throw your toppings in, and then you throw it in and you bake it for another 8 minutes. And it turns out so fantastic, and it's fresh, and you can make the dough as thin or as thick as you want. And so that's something that I've really been into lately. I feel like it's healthy-ish if I don't put a ton of cheese on it, but you can throw a
Yeah,
lot of vegetables on it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just cover it with green peppers, and you'll feel good
So
about it.
definitely that's something that I've been making a lot at home lately.
All right. So we keep getting people asking for singing. So
Oh
maybe you can
no.
cook a pizza and sing and dance all at once, spin the dough around. We're thinking of great content for you right here on the fly.
All
So
right.
uh,
Yeah, it may be in the future. I've only, in my career, I've only done singing a few times, and
yeah.
one of them was for Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun, which I got to do. Got to dub the song in it, which is very rare in anime. It was super
Yeah.
exciting. I didn't. It was weird because we thought we weren't going to be able to at the time, even though like all the songs in the show had been dubbed up to this point, because like my character's episodes are very late in the season, and um, and then I got an email like saying, okay, here's the materials, and we need you to record. like say it was like a Wednesday and then they needed to mix it because the episode was going to air on Saturday. And so it has a super tight turnaround.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to cram and learn this song. And then going into the session, I'm like super freaked out because I'm like, oh my God, she has to, girl is a pop star idol, she's a demi doll. And so I was like, oh my God, I feel a lot of pressure. And, like up until this point, Kaylee is an amazing singer and she's been singing a bunch of songs. But the director and the engineers were super patient with me, really nice, really helped me get through the song. And praise be to the editors that were, putting it that together because that was all recorded remotely. So when they
Oh,
got the actors, they
yeah.
had to like pick and pull it all together and mix it, and it sounds really good. And so I owe it all to them.
That's great that it turned out so well, though. That's good.
Yeah, it's hard to just not only sing, but to sing to picture, where she's
Right.
like singing and moving and dancing around. So like trying to like match the mouth flap at the same time was just like my brain is like broken right now.
That's like, yeah, that's multitasking squared. There's so much to
Right.
yeah, giving me a headache. I'm gonna ask let's move on to another question. 60 Buzzer asks, who is your favorite Marvel superhero?
Favorite Marvel superhero?
Do you watch any of the MCU stuff?
Yeah, I have. Who's my favorite? Well, I have to say I have a huge soft spot for Captain America.
Hmm.
I haven't seen the new Captain America stuff,
Hmm.
but but
Captain
I
America
like
or Chris Evans?
the Chris Evans version. So I haven't seen like the new show on Disney Plus yet. Um, but I do plan to. Um, but I've always just adored him. He's like a wholesome type
Yeah,
character.
yeah, he's
Um,
so lovable. It's a good one. How about Christopher Harding asks, who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Favorite Ninja Turtle. So I actually grew up with the Ninja Turtles when I was really little, and I have to say,
Wait. Let's do this at the same time. All right. I'll count three, two, one, and then you name yours, and I'll name my favorite. Okay.
okay,
All right. Three, two, one. Donatello.
Donatello.
Yes. Yes.
I had my parents actually bought me, or they won for me. It was like at like the arcade where you had to like get a bunch
Uh-huh.
of tickets, and they actually won for
Oh,
me a life-size Donatello that I dragged with me
what?
everywhere all the
That's
time.
awesome. Oh, yes. You know, Don, yeah, I'm so glad you said Donatello because I was going to end the whole live right now and pick Raphael or somebody like that. So, all right, awesome. um, da, 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 da. Um, well, we should, a couple of people have asked this already too. This is kind of an administrative type question, but Video Game Nerd asks, will you be doing another live signing?
I hope so. I don't have one planned yet. I know I've been getting a lot of requests lately, so maybe I should plan one soon. But yeah, not not any planned so far. But I do hope to do one eventually.
Are you you mentioned having watched some anime before you got into anime. I know some voice actors are not anime fans. Some voice actors like anime, but it's their job, so you kind of get tired of it. You don't want to bring it home. What are you? I mean, do you enjoy anime? Do you watch anime? Do you watch yourself?
I do continue to watch anime. I will have to admit that I don't as much as I used to, mainly because sometimes I don't have like a lot of time. And so a lot of times I'm trying to watch and keep up with the things that I've been in just so that I, can stay informed for future sessions or, even things that I've done just so that a lot of stuff that's even coming out, like even just coming directly to Netflix, it
Hmm.
doesn't anywhere else. So a lot of times I'm recording and I have no idea what's happening really, except for what's happening to my character. So I
Uh,
know like the entire like through line for my character, but what's happening around them? I have no idea. So I have to go back and watch them just so I understand like the full story of what's going on. Um, but yeah, I do still watch a lot of anime. I feel like the only like big anime that I really keep up with these days is One Piece. I think I'm only a couple episodes behind,
are you
but
serious?
yeah, that was
That's
one
the
that
900 something episodes, right?
I was like 400 something episodes behind, but with quarantine, I caught up.
Wow. That's a big
That's
deal.
how long we've been in this pandemic.
I'm so intimidated by One Piece. People always recommend it to me, but I just every
Right?
year I'm just that many more episodes behind, you know?
It's true. I mean, they have like the movies that sometimes condense whole arcs.
I've heard
So
that.
you can kind of go about it that way if you want to go about it in chunks instead of like thinking of this like gargantuan like 900 episode anime to go through.
Anyway.
10 lifetimes later, maybe I'll be done.
Moving on to another kind of platform. Some people are interested in gaming. Let's see, 60 Buzzer and Marianne and some other people also asked, what are some of your favorite video games that you've played?
So I don't play as many games as I would like to, and so I have to preface with that. Games lately that I've been playing, because I don't play a whole lot of games. I have only been playing Valheim, actually. So I've been going through and like just, going through. I mostly like the collecting wood and stone and building a house and maybe hunting some like creatures here and there. But
Yeah,
it's a really nice, slow-paced anime video game that I can play a couple hours before bed. Like
yeah,
so, I do enjoy that right now, and I play Pokemon Go
yeah.
still,
Still, okay.
um, because that's kind of easy to do, like if you're out and about or going for a walk.
Uh-huh.
Just so you don't have to like it doesn't require like a ton of skill or a lot of timing or commitment. So.
So Xanthe fans out there, please try to spot her walking along and doing the Pokemon Go thing. That
Make
would be
sure to talk
amazing.
into oncoming traffic. Thank you.
Yeah, and warn her if you see her about to run into something. All right, how about I mentioned cosplay earlier. Michael Anderson from Twitter says, "Have you ever thought about starting a cosplay small business because you've got a real talent for it?" And if not that, I mean, how did are you thinking of new cosplay right now? Is it something you still enjoy doing?
Yeah, I cosplay was something that I always dreamt about doing in my early teens, watching anime and like seeing cosplayers and thinking, oh, that seems like really difficult and like maybe it's not for me. I don't know if I'm like pretty enough, tall enough, this and that. But I realized that, cosplay is for everybody. It doesn't matter if you make your own costume or like buy your costume, and I do a mix of both. I will say it does feel very rewarding when you're able to piece one together yourself or to make your own pieces and such. Um, but I do have some cosplays I would like to do. Um, and so we'll see. I have bought some, and a lot of times they don't look very good when they come in. They don't look like
Yeah,
the pictures online. So I have to figure out if I even have the skills to fix them or just kind of completely abandon them, which I have done. I have like three or four in my closet that are just like, this didn't look like the picture. Um, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely get that. We're just to let everyone know out there, we're getting kind of near the end of our time. So if you have some questions, post them up there, and I'll look through them and see if we've got any to ask Xanthe. And let me just pull some from here. Well, as long as we're talking about cosplay, this is from my buddy Mohammed, so I'll I'll mention it here. I'll give his question. Name one cosplay that you're most proud of. Which one do you really like? Like, maybe it's one of those homemade ones, right? I really like this one.
Um, hmm. So, years ago, first, one of my first cosplay that I made entirely from scratch was for Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender because I
Okay.
love that series. I absolutely adore it, and so I bought just fabric and I cut and I made that outfit and I loved it. It was falling apart so terribly by the end of the day. Rips here and there. Everything is safety pinned, but I had such an amazing time wearing it that, it didn't matter that close up. It's like, don't look at it
Hmm.
close up.
Hmm.
Look
Hmm.
from a distance and
Yeah.
it's okay. But um I think it's not only just like the pride of like making something like that, but it's like the how much fun I had at the con going around with my friends and then like meeting people and that are cosplaying from the same show or people freaking out like, like you get to bond with somebody else because they also love the show and you get to have this little like moment together. I think that's what my favorite thing about cosplay is, and that was like one of my first like big the first like time I had like a ton of fun at a convention in a cosplay.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the mark. Like, cosplay is something that should be inviting, right? Something that often involves community, and it doesn't have to be, this several $100 cosplay, though it could be. It could just be something that's falling apart as long as you're enjoying it, right?
Yeah, I mean I feel like it's so intimidating with the internet because everybody has an opinion. Doesn't mean they're right. And when and there's always like a risk when you're posting up cosplay of yourself in it puts you in a very vulnerable spot because people are judging every little bit about it, about you, about things you can't change, like your own like skin color. It's kind of ridiculous. And I think, cosplay is something that you do because you love it and it's your way of showing your love for the show or franchise and the character. And, and so, you do you, you know?
Hmm.
And yeah.
Absolutely. Speaking of that kind of negativity that comes sometimes, have you ever experienced like a negative review, and did it impact you in any type of way?
Yeah, the sucky thing about it is that, like no matter how much you may hear that people have loved a thing that you were in, if you see like the one bad comment, it just kind of like cements itself into your brain and never leaves, which is really annoying. Like why can I remember that word for word 10 years later when it doesn't matter anymore? Um, but you know, I try not to think about it. I mean, honestly, a lot, like the few like comments that I may have seen, like a lot of times they don't really bother me because I the things that I say to myself are much meaner, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really
Hmm.
critical of myself.
Hmm.
Um, and so like the things that maybe other people would point out, I'm like, I've already seen that. Like like I have already known about this and it came out and I see it and I still fixate on it and I know already. Um, so I don't know. It's just one of those
Yeah.
things where like other people's comments don't really bother me as much because I've probably already said similar things to myself.
Right. And maybe if it's something totally that you hadn't said to yourself, it might be totally off base, right? Like, I don't think they know what they're talking about. So, um, you know,
I may
I,
not have control over for sure.
yeah, you
Like
know,
if it's something that's, like if it's the dialogue, like I didn't write it, so and you
right.
told me to say
Yeah. And people, people just there's like with social media, there's less of a filter than there ever was, you know?
that.
So, some people just say mean things and maybe they wouldn't if they just stop for a second sometimes, but that stuff certainly affects us. So
Because you're definitely saying it to a real person on the other side.
yeah. As long as I have you here, I should mention that, personally, I normally listen or I watch anime subtitled with the Japanese language, but with Maquia, I always listen to the dub because I think you do such a wonderful job. I really treasure that dub. So from this perspective, at least, you're wonderful at what you do, and certainly everyone who's joining you tonight would say the same. Um,
Much.
let
I
me
really loved working on Maquia. I cried so much in that movie.
mhm.
And it was hard because, especially, like near the end where she has like her big crying moment. I don't know how much of that is a spoiler, but it was hard because when you're dubbing, you do a line and then you stop and then they try to make sure that it fits the timing, fits the mouth, fits everything
Mhm.
else. And so I like did this big crying scene and then hold while they try to put it in and then like see if it fits and then like give you extra notes and then you try it again, you do another big cry again and then you hold and then they're trying to make that fit and like you're waiting all this time, so like something that maybe like 30 seconds maybe took me like 5-10 minutes to like really hold cry and hold it in and try to keep this emotion, but it's always like on the brim of like like fully letting go. And it was
Mhm.
hard because I'm looking at the script and my eye, like I'm seeing all the lines that are there and my eye is like floating down to the next line, which is
Uh-huh.
Ariel's line of "I love you, mommy," and I was like, oh god, I'm gonna cry again."
Oh, what a challenge. I love this. These are the things that we're just watching and sometimes we're laughing or in this instance we're crying along with you, but we're not thinking about how hard it is for that to happen. That's some great
Yeah.
insight. I'm gonna end with just one really simple question. I know we could go on forever, but this one might be fun. Who's your favorite One Piece Straw Hat?
Oh, why would you ask me such a thing?
You
They're
can
all,
only pick one.
I love them
Only
all.
one. You may only pick one.
I have to go with my boy Zoro because I love that he's just really strong. He's fiercely loyal. Um, and he is just horrendous with directions, and I relate with that in a very long, yeah, it's funny. Like I love that it's they're like running up the staircase and then like one of the characters turns around and he's like running off in some random direction and they're like, how could you get lost when you're following us?
I, I
I
know how
love
that happens. I know how that works. It's just life. It's just normal life.
that, right?
Hey, yeah, so I've got my we used to have a podcast and my co-host is also caught up on One Piece. And I'm just amazed again, I'm still amazed at people that can watch 1,000 episodes of one anime. That just blows my mind. Like I mean, I'll be honest, I regret watching all of Naruto because as much as I like this show, I'm just like, I can't believe I watched 400 episodes of this. I could have watched, like 12 other series or 20 other series. It's
Well, it's so
so much.
good, right? I mean, all the filler stuff is kind of, but
But once you're invested, you got to watch the filler too, right? Like, I did it. I did the
I did
filler
watch a
too.
lot of those fillers too, and I was like, why? Some of them were great. I loved all of the stuff with uh oh shoot. names are gone. Names are gone. He did a bunch of like curry episodes. Rock Lee. Rock Lee. Yeah,
Yes,
I like
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Rock
Yeah.
Lee is a
Anyway, at some point we'll do a One Piece like celebration, something, do
oh my
something
goodness.
with One Piece, just talk One Piece instead of talk about all about yourself, that might be fun. But anyway, thank you for joining me tonight, Xanthe. We really appreciate it.
Me. Thank you for
You,
being patient with me. I know it's really hard to get through to me because like
no,
it's
no, 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 no.
hard to
You're
keep
you're
up with messages and all that.
No, you're very responsive. I mean, you're actually very responsive. So I really appreciate that, and I totally understand. I'm not one of those people that like, why did they read it? I know they read it. Why haven't they come back to me? I get it. I get it. You're busy. You're busy. So I'm just thankful that you definitely got back to me, and you're so kind. So thank you for that. And everyone out there, I know a lot of you already follow Xanthe, but for those who don't, please follow her. Follow her on Instagram and Twitter. I think it's the same screen name. It's Xanthor,
Yes.
which that'll be the last question because I don't think I asked you this last time we talked. Is where did that? No, I did ask you this maybe. Where did that come from? What's it's Xanthor? That's it's so
Oh.
sick.
Yeah, so for anybody that doesn't know, it actually was a nickname that I had in college. Well, okay, not exactly. Let me start over. So I on one of the shows that I worked on, I had a friend that called me Xanther as like a nickname. And then in another show that I did, there was a lot of the same cast members in that, and somehow my name had evolved to Xanthor. And then by the end of like our rehearsal period, everybody was calling me Xanthor. And I thought it was so funny because it just sounded so epic for
Hmm.
a tiny little person like me. So
Hmm.
I loved it and I embraced it and I used it for all of my socials. Yeah, so that's how I became Xanthor.
Everyone in the comments right now is Xanthor, Xanthor, Xanthor. So
Oh,
awesome. Well, thank you, Xanthor, for joining us. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I know you're always doing so many things. So thank you again for joining us. And thank you for all the wonderful work you do that's bringing smiles and a lot of times tears to our eyes. So we really appreciate it.
thank you so much for having me. This was super fun. And thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for watching and playing all the things that I've been in. I really appreciate the support, and I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the stuff that I've been in. And I hope that you'll continue to watch and see the things that I'm in. I'm still trying to work on more things, so yay.
Yeah, yeah. Please follow her. Xanthe is she is very kind to her fans. I've noticed that over time here, and of course very talented. So thank you again, Xanthe, and good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you also.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.